house had always been a source of comfort to me, a place of safety and security where I could retreat from the chaos of the outside world. But on that fateful night, when I found myself home alone, I would come to discover that the familiar could transform into the unknown, and the ordinary into the horrifying. It was a cold, dark evening when my parents informed me that they would be attending a family gathering out of town and leaving me to fend for myself for the weekend. At first, the prospect of having the house to myself excited me. I imagined a weekend of indulgence, ordering takeout, watching my favorite movies, and reveling in the blissful solitude. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across the house, I settled into the coziness of my living room. The soft glow of the television bathed the room in a warm, inviting light. I ordered my favorite pizza and curled up on the couch, relishing the idea of a quiet night ahead. The evening started off peacefully enough. I enjoyed my dinner and began to watch a movie, the comforting sounds of familiar characters and plotlines washing over me. But as the night deepened, a sense of unease settled in the pit of my stomach. It started with the subtlest of sounds, a soft creaking noise, like the shifting of floorboards. I dismissed it as the house settling, a normal occurrence in an old home like ours. But then the noise came again, more distinct this time, like footsteps, deliberate and purposeful. My heart quickened, and I muted the television, straining to listen. The house was supposed to be empty, and yet I was unmistakably hearing the telltale signs of someone else's presence. "Hello?" I called out tentatively, my voice trembling. There was no response, just an eerie silence that seemed to hang in the air. The footsteps continued, growing louder and closer. Panic surged through me, and I fumbled for my phone, ready to call the police. But as I reached for my phone, I caught sight of something in the hallway, a shadowy figure, lurking just beyond the reach of the dim hallway light. My breath caught in my throat as I stared in terror at the intruder, a chill running down my spine. The figure was tall and shrouded in darkness, its features obscured. I couldn't make out any details, just the vague outline of a person standing in the hallway watching me. My mind raced, and I thought of fleeing the house through the back door, but the intruder seemed to anticipate my every move, blocking my path. With no other options, I retreated further into the living room, my heart pounding. The figure followed, moving silently closer. The dim light revealed nothing of its identity, just the unsettling presence that seemed to emanate from it. I finally reached for my phone and dialed 911, whispering my desperate plea for help. The dispatcher assured me that the police were on their way, but each passing moment felt like an eternity as I waited in terror. As I clutched my phone, my eyes were drawn to a family portrait on the wall, the smiling faces of my parents and me, a snapshot of happier times. But the sight of the photo filled me with a renewed sense of dread, as I realized the intruder must have known I would be home alone, must have been watching and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Just then, a bone-chilling sound echoed through the house, a sinister, guttural whisper that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. "Alone." The word hung in the air, heavy with malevolence. I was no longer certain if the whisper had originated from the intruder or some other unseen presence in the house. It sent shivers down my spine, and I felt an overwhelming sense of isolation. As I cowered on the living room floor, the intruder finally stepped fully into the dim light. Its face was hidden beneath a mask, a grotesque visage that sent a jolt of terror through me. The mask was contorted into a wicked smile, and its eyes were hollow voids, devoid of any humanity. "Alone," it hissed again, its voice a nightmarish rasp. I felt a surge of determination, a primal instinct to survive. I hurled my phone at the intruder, hoping to distract it long enough to make a break for it. The phone struck the mask, and the intruder let out a guttural growl of frustration. I seized my chance and sprinted for the front door, flinging it open and stumbling out into the cold night. I could hear the approaching sirens of the police, and I raced towards them, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The officers arrived moments later, storming the house in a blaze of flashing lights and authority. But when they searched the premises, they found no sign of the intruder. There was no trace of the menacing figure that had haunted my home. I was left shaken and traumatized, my sense of safety shattered. The police offered their assurances, but they couldn't explain the inexplicable, couldn't to account for the terror that had descended upon me that night. In the days that followed, I tried to make sense of the ordeal, to find a rational explanation for the intruder's presence. But the sinister whisper, the malevolent mask, and the haunting feeling of being watched remained unexplained. To this day, I remain haunted by the events of that night, by the whisper of the intruder, and the chilling realization that even in the safety of our own homes, we are never truly alone. The memory of that horrifying encounter serves as a chilling reminder that darkness can descend upon us when we least expect it, and that the sanctity of home can be shattered in an instant, leaving us forever scarred by the horrors that lurk in the night.